here in the wild, where the heart beats free. We're crafting our dreams, just my family and me. From sunrise to sundown, we're making our way, building our legacy, day by day. Welcome to the Wildheart Podcast, where passion meets purpose, homeschooling, homestead, and living dreams that serve us.
Welcome to the Wildheart Podcast. I'm Tony.
I'm Erin.
And what's our...
Where passion meets purpose. It just said it in our little
there
song.
There you go. We haven't both been on for a while. I did a podcast solo last time. What have you been up to in the last few weeks?
Stress. No.
Stress.
Studying.
You also got
I chopped it.
Haircut. I also got a haircut. You can't tell as much. What are you studying?
Herbology.
Which is kind of our topic for today. Underrated herbs, in case I haven't mentioned.
No, we didn't.
But we're talking about underrated herbs. We kind of had herbs. Why is it herbs? If
Because
there's
the
an
H is silent.
Oh boy, English. Before we jump into that, though, related to that, we have little seedlets.
Seedlings.
Seedlitlings.
Seedlets? Seed babies, as I call
babies. Off the top of your head, do you remember what we're growing and what's kind of sprouting pretty decent?
We have 4 parsley out of the 9 that I planted so far.
So not like it's a 50%.
The parsley just like most, it wasn't the most recent pop-up, but they most recently popped up. Then we have 1 lemon balm that came up yesterday.
That's nice.
I've got about 5 French lavenders. We planted cosmos and zinnias.
Mm-hmm. Those are the just
Those
regular
are the flower
flowers.
ones.
Like we've segregated our flowers from our herbs.
Only because I know that our daughter is going to be tending the flowers. We also have broccoli and tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
None of our peppers have come up yet, which is unfortunate.
I feel like they're late bloomers generally.
I think so. Rosemary we planted, but that hasn't come up yet. And we also, my mint hasn't come up yet.
And we have perennials that are in the garden. Some chives.
Chives keep coming back. Good.
I'm snacking on them every chance I get.
Mm-hmm. We also have my yarrow is coming back.
Yarrow. It's like YOLO, except yarrow.
Yarrow. Yarrow's a good herb, actually.
What does it do?
It's really good for all things blood related. So you have a bloody nose, stick a bolus of yarrow in your nose. You want a bloody nose? Stick a bolus of yarrow in your nose.
Yeah, stick the sticks up your nose.
No, not the sticks.
That'll give you a bloody nose.
It's a bundle of the flowers and the leaves. But it's also really good for just stopping bleeding in general. So if you have a cut, you can put a bit of yarrow on it and it'll not seal it, but it'll clot it. That's all I can think of off the top of my head right now. Yeah. In flower essences, it's really good for protection, if I remember correctly. It's a very good protective herb. There's 3 different types of yarrow that I'm aware of. There's the white yarrow flowers, there's the yellow yarrow flowers, and there's the pink yarrow flowers. We have pink ones in the garden, but I also have seeds for the white ones.
That's cool.
Each one has slightly different properties, but all basically have very similar
They're in the same family.
Yeah.
I imagine.
No, it's the pink yarrow is very different from the yellow yarrow.
It's the more feminine yarrow. What else have I mean, homeschooling, I feel like we just started a new reading.
Yes, we did.
What would you call it? Program. Yep. With our daughter. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Do you want me to tell you where I got it from?
Tell us about it.
Okay, well, it's...
I don't know much about it. You kind of spearheaded this one.
I did. I don't remember how I stumbled across this lady with her curriculum. Probably a Facebook or an Instagram ad somewhere.
The internet.
But it's the how we, like WEE,
Little.
learn Yeah, like little. Learn. She's Canadian based. She's actually in Ontario, which is really good because a lot of the curriculum that I was finding previous generally has a basis in the US. Which, like, not that that's a bad thing, because for things like science and maths, that's pretty standard. But when you get into something like social studies.
We're just teaching our 5-year-old sociology, I guess.
I mean,
Which
nothing's
arguably,
off the table,
no,
honestly.
That's true.
But for social studies, that makes a big difference, because obviously if you're learning American history, but your curriculum is Canadian history, like, there's a difference.
The main thing I remember from social studies when I went to school, government school, is that Canada is a mosaic and the U.S. is a melting pot.
Yes.
So that is the big learning that I think they try to drive into you.
And
or at least they drove into me.
And how the settlers were so nice and peaceful.
Yeah. We burnt the White House down.
So no, I mean, like, Canadian settlers to the indigenous populations.
Oh, yeah, no.
It was so watered down and so whitewashed. Anyways, I digress. So yes, the curriculum that not the curriculum, but the program that we're learning. So this lady, she's based out of Ontario. She actually has her own homestead. Mm-hmm. She's got a couple of kids. She used to be like a public school teacher.
Cool.
She's actually taken to homeschooling her own kids and has created these really fantastic programs and like units of study. I'm really seriously contemplating getting more. Mm-hmm. She's got like this massive, like, it's all the family. She calls them family study units, because she basically breaks it down of like, these are activities that the young ones can do. These are activities that like the older ones can do, but you're doing it all together. Yeah. And I really like that. So although I don't know if we'll necessarily get her like grade 1, grade 2, like graded programs, I think what will
it's a good thing to like pull from, right?
Yeah.
Formatting wise, it sounds really cool.
I like, yeah. So anyways, this reading program. So our daughter, again, expressed interest in learning to read, but she said that she didn't want to use the book that we were reading from.
I feel like, not that it's ruined, but like, it's been tainted to a certain extent. Like, she looks negatively upon it a little bit. Which,
like, granted, I mean, it serves a purpose. It did really well at, like, helping her learn the letter sounds. I think it just scaled up a little bit quickly.
I found it very confusing, personally.
You were super confused by it.
And because our daughter is a little bit like me in a lot of ways, I could see that, maybe being related.
She's not the one reading the instructions. You just didn't understand the instructions. You didn't understand the assignment. I did. Anyways, so this new reading program, we're starting it at the beginning, even though I think our daughter could go up to some of the, like, what is it? We're looking at the phonological awareness right now, which is like rhyming and syllable counting, word counting in sentences,
the beginnings before you start reading.
Yeah,
right?
like things to be aware of.
What's a period before a period? Before you know what a period is.
Yeah, kind of.
What are the elements of words and letters?
So we're doing that, and I think like our daughter is probably a little bit more like not advanced, but she understands these concepts a little bit.
But it's good to review.
Yeah, and like I would rather start her at something that she feels confident in than
build her up.
Starting where I think she's at and then have it be a struggle.
Yeah, of course.
And she actually has been scooch over. She's actually been really good at it. In terms of like I can ask her like, hey, did you want to do your reading lesson today? And like even at dinner time today, she was like, yeah, I do. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, and they're really short and sweet. Like you can draw them out for longer, but like her, the lady who creates this curriculum her whole platform is like, you can do your homeschooling in 1 hour, which is very much in alignment for where we're at.
Yep. No, I think it's great. I mean, she's in kindergarten. She's, as far as I'm concerned, she's already checked all the boxes of what kindergartners are expected to know. So I have no qualms about where we are at in terms of our homeschooling. it's a good, more just trying out more resources, and we have the luxury of being able to try whatever we want, really.
Yeah,
as long as it works.
I also bought
throw it away if it doesn't. Sorry.
I don't know if I'll throw it away.
Well, we used a lot of paper printing it, so.
Yeah. One of the other things too is with this lady or this curriculum, they were doing. They have little summer camps.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I told you about that, but so I got the reading program and then I got their summer camp.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 6 weeks of lessons and it revolves around different things. So there's like butterflies, bees, stars and constellations.
Breakfast.
No. Anyways.
Battlestar Galactica.
But anyways, so they, I got that as a tester, and if we like the curriculum and the way she lays it out, I might invest in some of her other stuff.
Sure.
Excuse me. So that's where we're at.
Cool.
Yep.
I've been working on. We did some of our taxes.
We did all.
So, well, we did, but I've also been working on developing some partnerships. Partnerships. And we haven't solidified them all yet, but we're revolving them around the cooking space right now, specifically the smoker. Future announcements to come. I feel like we should test them out and make sure we enjoy the actual products before we partner, which is the biggest thing right now for me.
How that should work.
But so there's a little bit of a delay, and we get to try some new things. But I'm also related to food. I'm also fasting.
I'm also related to food.
I am related to the food. You are what you eat, so I'm related to food. Anyway, so I'm alternate day fasting. Basically, all that means is that I am every second day. So Monday, in this case, Monday, Wednesday, which is today, and Friday, I fast. I'm taking the whole day. I just drink water, and I guess as a first, I'm on my third day now. Of doing it, of trying it, of the fasting, I should say. I've been almost a week of doing it. A few little feedback items. It was interesting the first day just to like deal with the hunger cravings. I've learned that anytime you have like a hunger pain or hunger craving or whatever you want to call it, it's basically just your body secreting a digestive enzyme that helps you digest when it expects to be eating. So like it's kind of like a Pavlovian response where like, hey, you're expected to eat at lunch or dinner, and like, smelling dinner sometimes is challenging, but like your body's essentially like preloading the digestive enzymes so that you can digest what it thinks is coming, but you're like, psych.
Just kidding, not having.
But yeah, some of the side effects of doing the alternate day fasting is a boost of testosterone during fasting periods, and also it also gets triggered additionally when you start eating again. Think of it kind of like when animals in nature, when there's a storm or a blizzard or time of scarce food. They're not going out and scouring the world for food, and generally speaking, they're hunkering down and they're fasting, and like the bodies naturally go into like a repair mode during the fast periods. A lot of the toxins that we store in our body are stored in the fat cells. So by eliminating those, there's that's why they have the keto flu when people go into ketosis. A lot of the time is those fat cells releasing those toxins and your body's letting them go. Mm-hmm. There's the physical aspects of like reducing stomach size, so you feel fuller faster. And a lot of people have reported improved focus, reduced inflammation, which is kind of my main things. I'm very active nowadays. And I just want to, all the aches and pains that I've kind of that have come and go, I want to reduce those as much as possible. So yeah, that's kind of the summary of why I'm doing the alternate day fasting right now. And like, yeah, by default, you're eating 3 days less a week. You are taking in less calories, therefore you will lose weight. Like I got a little bit of weight to lose that I've gained since going to school and whatnot. So by default, I'll hopefully lose some weight.
As you were talking there, just as a random aside, the whole fat stored toxins and metabolizing them, I feel like my herbal brain goes woo, because I was just reading about the digestion and lymphatic and all that stuff. I feel like pairing that with something, whether it's a tea or something to help flush out the toxins so that they don't get
stored somewhere else or something.
Well, not stored per se, but so they don't get stuck in, right? So if you're fasting, you're probably going to be slowing down your digestion a little bit, at least on the days that you're fasting, because there's nothing to push.
I've definitely noticed a slow, like, obviously on the days I don't eat, there's nothing to
push through. Yeah. So having
other than
something
sipping on water. Yeah.
So having something like a tea or a tincture that would be able to help you shed those toxins into the, our filter systems, right? That's through the skin, the kidneys, and the digestion, through, liver and stuff too.
Yeah.
Having something like that could be really interesting to pair with to help you flush out those toxins so you don't have those.
I feel like that's a week 2 thing though.
Sure. It's just where my brain went. We can discuss.
You make up a herbal tea for me and I'll drink it.
I will discuss it with my master herbalist, ChatGPT.
Right.
Knowing the knowledge that I have gained from the few courses that I have taken with my herbology.
I
know it's a process.
It's a process, right? I'll be a guinea pig.
I'm making connections. Connections. Anyways.
How do you make
connections?
But yeah, shall we move on to our main topic?
Sure. The dandelions.
Well, the dandelions are the first of the underrated herbs, right?
There's several. We're talking about several of them.
We've added a few to the list.
Plantain. Oh, look, our yarrow. Sorry.
This is a surprise.
Spoilers. I would.
You're not a very good. So there's still a few herbs left that we haven't mentioned. But let's go into the actual, like, the permaculture aspects, uses, and herbalism uses here. So, what is dandelion? Describe what a dandelion looks like.
Dandelion. Oh, I'm not going to use the proper terms because I can't remember all the botany. But the dandelions are generally one of the few first flowers that come up.
It is a flower, and isn't it?
I mean, I guess you could classify it as a flower. I don't know, whatever. But dandelion is one of the first plants that come up aside from grass in the springtime. Pioneer
species, if you're thinking permaculture.
And it is one of the ones that is not most beneficial, but it is kind of the first food to most of the pollinators that come out in the springtime, before most of the other flowers and plants start to flower.
One of the first to reclaim disturbed land, if you will.
Yes.
So, like, if you had a till, if you tilled a whole field, like, it would be one of the first things that come up through it. And like, if what is a group of pigs called?
I don't know.
A wallow of pigs.
A herd of pigs.
If a bunch of pigs went through and like made a whole bunch of, destroyed the land, as they do sometimes, it would be the first to come break ground.
Yes, they populate very easily and very quickly, which is why they are a very effective weed. I don't like that term. But yeah, it breaks up really compacted soil with its deep taproot, which is its root. To I guess, categorize it or to classify it, dandelion is generally it doesn't come up too high. It's about maybe half a foot tall.
That's what I'm going to say.
And it's got a bright yellow flower that smells really sweet. Kind of smells like honey.
White or yellow?
Yellow. Did I say white? It's a yellow flower.
No, you said yellow, but I thought it was white.
No, you're thinking of clover.
I'm thinking of chamomile. That's what I'm thinking of. We've
grow,
had a lot of chamomile in our house.
I don't grow dandelions. Dandelions happen naturally.
Yeah, no, that's
And they have like serrated leaves, not serrated. They have toothed leaves, so they're kind of like. And when you pluck them, they have a really white, milky sap that's very sticky and doesn't taste very good. Can be very bitter.
Makes sense.
Yes.
That's for permaculture purposes. It draws nutrients like calcium from deep down in the soil, and it brings it up to the surface for other plants. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like permaculture purpose, if you will. It just like most pioneering species, it prevents erosion. It nourishes the soil and signals where the healing is basically happening on the land. As the herbalist, what are kind of the edible uses of the plant, would you say?
Well, people can use it in a lot of different things. I've seen the flower petals, or the fluff, not the fluff, but like the yellow petals used in bread. I've seen it can be used in wine and jellies. You can apparently batter and fry them. I've never tried that myself. The leaves themselves, you can actually use them in salads. I was going to say they kind of look like arugula.
I'd imagine like it would be a garnish to a salad. Like it would. You said it was bitter, right? So like
no, actually the young leaves are not bitter. It's the older leaves. Once they get a little bit older, they get bitter, and then that sap is very bitter. But yes, the young leaves have a. I don't know. They taste green to me. We'll pick one off
the lawn if it's not sprayed.
They taste green to me, but they're actually quite rich in potassium and iron, vitamins A and C. Mm-hmm. And then the roots, actually, you can dry them and roast them, and they have a very similar flavor to coffee. It's kind of like, to me, when I've had dandelion tea, it tastes like kind of like a dirty coffee, like not. I don't know, dirt mixed with coffee. It's good. It's a mild liver detox. It's a good thing to have.
What is its purpose, would you say?
So like, the uses.
Other than like a liver detox you just mentioned.
Yes. Well, it's a diuretic, which means that it helps you flush things out from your kidneys.
Maybe I should be having some dandelion tea.
I was actually going to say that. That is the first thing that popped in my head to like help flush things out. It's also a detoxifier because it works with the liver. Mm-hmm. It's a mild detoxifier. So you could drink it every day and you'll get a little bit of that detox effect, but it's not to the extent that, like it's not going to, not kill you, that's not the right word, but it's not going to really
poison. It's not going to
affect you to an extreme. It's also a digestive bitter, so it stimulates bile production and it helps stimulate appetite. It's anti-inflammatory and it has mild antimicrobial properties, so it's really good for inflammation and then a little bit of the microbes, so like antibacterial.
Makes sense.
And yeah, like I've got dandelion tea upstairs. You can use so for dandelion tea you can use the leaves and the flowers, but the roots are usually the most potent of the flower. The whole plant can be used, but yeah, the roots generally hold a lot of that, the medicinal purposes. You can use it a lot in tinctures for detox and for skin issues as well. Anyways, done.
Excellent.
All the things. I love dandelion. It's one of my favorites.
You hinted at them before, but yes. we do have this in our garden.
Plantain. Plantago major.
It's a big leaf. It literally took over the garden. So
typically you wouldn't find them that big. Our garden just grows them really big. Well, because we have very fertile soil.
And also like it's auto watering. So yes. it seems to me, what's the other name? Frog leaf.
So yes, my grandmother used to call them frog leaves.
Well, I mean, to me that would mean that they really like water. So like. I mean, yeah, that's just where my mind goes on that one.
That's interesting.
But it seems like it's a pioneering species. Mm-hmm. I think the origination of our, like where we got it was like we got some soil delivered, like via truck, like a big dump truck, and like I think it literally just popped up in the soil.
Yep, and I was like, oh, look, plantain, let's Let's
And so we
cultivate
replanted
this.
it into our garden, and it took over the garden.
It grew in the garden. I just didn't let it stop.
And you've used it for like some uses. Like I don't know if it's necessarily edible.
I mean, you could eat it. It's not going to hurt you. But I don't know if I would necessarily like eat it in a salad. I typically use it for skin, so skin healing. If you've got like bug bites, for example, if you get a mosquito bite or a sting from a wasp, a bee, or whatever, when in doubt, take a piece of the plantain or like a leaf of plantain, crush it, or I usually just chew it up, and then take that and rub it on whatever the sting or the bite or whatever. I've made oils out of it, and with those oils, I've used them on bug bites, or like, what was it, a wasp sting my sister's ex-boyfriend got, and he put some of that plantain oil on it, and within like 5 minutes it was gone, give or take. I've also seen it used in poison ivy, because it helps dry out the
like
poison
when
ivy.
you get poison ivy kind of thing?
So when you get poison ivy, if you don't have jewelweed nearby, which apparently is very difficult to find, you can use plantain to help dry out and soothe the skin, because it has a drawing property to it, so it can draw out things in the body, so like toxins, like stings, right? Or even slivers. Like I've used it for slivers on our daughter.
Yeah.
And that was when we had the conversation of whether bees can get slivers. And that was really cute. Yeah.
I mean, a sliver for a bee would just be getting stabbed. It's like equivalent to getting stabbed by a sword for us, I guess. But
depends on what kind of sliver it is. But I mean, considering that bees have exoskeletons, I don't know if that would be really effective.
Going quickly back to the permaculture role, these are also, sorry, I might have misspoke by calling them a pioneering species.
They are a pioneering species.
But they are also a dynamic accumulator. So they pull minerals like calcium and sulfur up to the surface for the other plants. So when the plantain dies, its remains get composted back, and then the other species take the minerals that it pulled up and basically are able to use that for the next wave of plants.
Yeah, it often grows in very compacted soil. It's in like disturbed areas like trails or driveways or old lawns. I guarantee you look near a sidewalk, you will find plantain.
Yeah.
It is very prominent. Just don't use the ones next to sidewalks or roads, because they've probably been peed on or have pollution.
Yep.
But yes, you can actually
like sprayed.
Yeah.
So yeah, just be obviously a big disclaimer to any herbalism or using herbs.
Use under the guidance of a healthcare practitioner. I do not offer medical advice.
But like, also common sense.
Yeah.
Don't use the ones that are really accessible to dogs and like just on the sidewalk. If you're out in the forest and you see it, chances are it probably has not been peed on.
I mean, you can wash it
and
too.
You could wash it and so forth. I mean, technically, whatever. We're not going to get into it. Is it edible?
It is.
Like you straight up, you could just eat it raw. Right?
I mean, you could. I mean, again, like
salad.
I don't know how tasty it is.
Plantain salad.
Yeah.
I would say the younger ones, as most things, would probably be.
I don't want to say the younger ones are sweeter, but plants tend to get bitter the longer that they're plants like this tend to get bitter as they get older.
Some humans do too.
Yes. It's apparently rich in calcium, vitamin A, C, and K, plus fiber.
Yeah, it's fibrous.
Yes.
What are the herbalism benefits as well?
Okay, so as we've already said, it's really good for bug bites and splinters and scrapes in general, just like skin
Poultices.
irritation. Skin healing. So it's antimicrobial, also anti-inflammatory. It helps draw out toxins from bee stings, minor infections, bug bites, that kind of thing. It's also, and I'm going to try to remember how to say this, an emulsant, which means that it is good for soothing mucous membranes. So it's really great for dry coughs, ulcers, and also IBS support.
Irritable bowel syndrome, if you're not familiar.
Yeah, I would use it really well for dry cough. That'd be good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
Our favorite yarrow that I was just talking about.
Yarrow. What's a yarrow look like?
It typically is it's kind of like not a shrubby plant. I don't want to again, I'm not great with my botany, but it's usually taller stalks. It kind of comes up to about a foot or so, and it's got like these really beautiful clusters of flowers. The flowers are relatively small, and they can be yellow, white, or pink. The leaves are they're like almost like teeth, but then there's like little teeth on top of those teeth. I don't know how to describe that.
They're like
go and Google
shark
yarrow.
Mouth. Yeah. No, I mean, in a perfect world, if my setup was a little bit better here, I'd be showing a picture on the screen, but we're doing it live.
It is
sorry.
Achillea,
Achillea millefolium.
Yeah, I'm not great with the Latin.
That's where I'm coming in.
Yeah, I had it right there
it's
too.
All good. For the permaculture role, it's an insectiary plant, so it attracts ladybugs, parasitic wasps, and other beneficial insects.
Well, we don't want that by our spiders, or not our spiders.
Butterflies.
Yes. Why would I want parasitic wasps?
They pollinate, right?
Yes.
I'm not saying they're the best for they're obviously not good for
our poor little
butterflies.
Caterpillars.
Butterflies, yeah. So we had some incidents, if you haven't heard the story in the past, where we often get what kind of butterflies?
Black swallowtail.
Black swallowtail, and so we've kind of our yearly tradition is bringing a few in to the house to winter over in the house.
Well, not necessarily winter, but we watch their cycle.
Yeah, we
just have been blessed with being able to winter them because they just don't emerge.
Yeah, but there was a couple that were these like wasps, parasitic wasps.
Targus wasps.
That like, what do? They go in and basically eat out the actual butterfly cocoon and like do their own thing in there.
The long and short of it is that the mother Targus wasp comes along, sees a tiny caterpillar, deposits an egg into the caterpillar. That egg turns into a tiny little larva and then just hangs out until the caterpillar cocoons. And then when the caterpillar turns into goo, because it does that to be able to reemerge as a butterfly, that wasp larva basically eats up all the goo and then uses the cocoon as a way to also go through its own metamorphosis. And then it's like, haha, I'm a wasp now.
It's
so that's fun.
Tricky.
Yeah.
But it's also an excellent companion plant, and it grows near fruit trees, garden beds, and it just improves the pest resistance, I'll say.
Cool.
And it also, just like a lot of the other ones, has deep roots that draw nutrients from the lower soils to improve fertility over time. What was the term? Dynamic accumulator.
Also, just a heads up about yarrow. It spreads by, and I cannot remember the term for it, but it spreads with roots along the ground. So I started with like one plant, and it is now spread throughout our garden bed. So I'm gonna have to like hack away some of it.
Do I have to like get new soil?
No, I don't know. It's like roses, where they like have one mother plant and then they like use roots to like pop up other ones around.
I want to say tuber, but that's not it.
No, it's a word that sounds like rose, but I don't remember how to say it properly.
Okay.
Anyways, doesn't matter.
Good. What are the herbalism uses?
Herbalism, or do you want edible first?
Sorry, edible. Let's go. Let's keep the format the same.
Okay. So edible uses. So the most of the plant is pretty bitter and potent, but we can use it in medicinal teas and tinctures. I should say you should use it more in medicinal teas and tinctures versus like eating it like raw, but like
don't just
it.
like
Yeah,
you know.
and these are the parts of the plant where you'd be like using the leaves and the flowers.
Sparingly.
You can use it sparingly to like flavor your food or to garnish your plate. A few leaves in a salad can aid digestion, especially alongside heavier meals, but it's kind of like a little goes a long way. You don't want to like spoil your salad.
Fair.
Yeah.
On to the herbalism.
Like I said, good for stopping bleeding. Is that the astringent? No, never mind. I'm trying to remember all my terms that I've like spent the last couple of months learning, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
You're not. We're not testing you. We're just going through some overlooked herbs.
Yeah, but so using it externally, you can use it on cuts and wounds. It's really good at stopping bleeding. So if you are out in, say, the
Nature.
wilderness and you happen to cut yourself and there's a yarrow plant right there, you can slap. You would want to use like the leaf. You can use the leaf on your cut or whatever. Keep in mind, it's not going to stop. Like if you really damage yourself, it might help stem the bleeding, but you're still going to want to get to the hospital.
Don't use yarrow to avoid a hospital visit if you need stitches.
Yes.
Or if you're, bleeding profusely.
Yeah, if you cut yourself on one of your major arteries, you should probably go to the doctor. Don't just shove yarrow in the hole.
Again, common sense. What's this about fevers?
Well, let's just go back up a little bit. So in terms of the stopping bleeding, it can also be used internally, so using a tincture or a tea alongside other herbs as well to help with heavy menstrual flow or ulcers in your stomach or digestion. So it helps regulate your fevers by stimulating sweating. So it's a diaphoretic, which means that it makes you feel really hot and it brings your body temperature up so that you sweat out the fever. Yes. Very useful for, medicinal balance, menstrual balance, digestion, and like we said, wound healing. It's often found in teas or formulas for women's health, and we actually use it quite a bit for cold remedies, especially if you are already starting to develop some form of fever. We can use it to help bring up that fever a little bit more and help you sweat it out a little bit faster.
Well, that's all for yarrow. Next is
chickweed.
Stellaria media. I'm going to call it.
That sounded very Italian of you.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Permaculture rolls for this. Mm-hmm. It's essentially like a mulch, living mulch. It grows very low, so it's only going to be at most like an inch off the ground, and it covers the soil, so it reduces the erosion and water evaporation. So it's kind of a ground cover. Mm-hmm. It signals nitrogen-rich, healthy soil. And its presence usually means that the soil is in good shape for planting.
Sweet.
So it's very shallow roots. It doesn't compete much for the other plants in the garden or the permaculture area. Making it a friend of early spring crops.
Oh,
it's good buddies with
friendly.
Those. Yeah. It's like, you can have the water and the deep things in the deep soil.
The deep things in the deep soil.
Deep things, deep soils. How can we eat it?
You take it and you nom nom. No, it's very, I guess it's good to eat raw. Very palatable, we'll say. It's mild and juicy. It's great for salads and pestos, green smoothies, or you can saute it. It's also extremely high in vitamin C, iron, magnesium, and trace minerals. It's best harvested when it's young and fresh before flowering. I was going to say it's kind of like a microgreen. You want to harvest it when it's still microgreen.
That's fair. Most things are, microgreen-esque. That's the whole idea of microgreens, right? You want to get them young. It's like the venison of the plant world.
The venison of the plant world, or the veal?
Veal. And herbalism benefits.
Yeah, so it helps really well with inflammation. So it cools and soothes. I was going to say cools something. I don't know. It was
anyway.
Cool and soothes were going to come together, and it was going to make a word. Anyways. So it does, it cools and soothes inside out. We can use it a lot in salves and skin creams. Skin creams.
Like
for
eczema.
for rashes, eczema, and dry skin. This just should be one that we I put together for our son, because I wonder if that would help for his skin. Internally, it supports the lymphatic system, flushing out stagnant and minor infections, which would be very helpful because I got that stupid little lymph node going on over here. It's also a gentle diuretic, which means that it makes you pee, and it's a mild laxative, which makes you poop. And it's often included in a lot of spring detox blends. A lot of herbalists have a belief that we should be detoxing our bodies with the seasons, so typically in the spring and then once in the fall, just to kind of clean out our systems and see where they're at. So this is typically found in the spring detox blends.
Interesting. I didn't know there was like a seasonal detox schedule. What's the last one?
Lamb's quarters.
Chenopodium album.
I've seen this in our yard. Or
what?
No, I think it's just the random pots that we have. They just randomly starts up, and I'm like, ooh, what's this? And then I take a picture of it, and my phone tells me what a is, and I go, oh, that's interesting, and then I forget about it. I'm pretty sure it's got like a silvery look to its leaves. If you just Googles it.
Yeah, we will we will use our words to describe what is on the screen.
Yes. White goosefoot.
It
That's what it's
reminds
called.
me of Weiss Goodfoot.
Yeah, because it'll some herbs have synonyms to them. So, for example, Erva Russi is also Burberry. And so if you know both names, you're okay, but if you only know one name, and it's like having a brand name versus a generic name for medications. If I only know the brand name and then you tell me the generic name, I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? So it's good to know, like, white goosefoot is also lamb's quarters, but if you go by the Latin or the scientific name, you'll have an idea of what it is. Just different areas or different peoples call it different things. Anyways.
Fair. For permacultures, I would say that it's a wild nutrient bank. One of the most nutrient-dense plants found in disturbed soils. So, compost piles and old garden beds.
Surprise, that's where I found it.
Very similar to plantains and dandelions. It's a pioneering species. It likes to reclaim neglected land. And it's also a companion crop for things like corn, squash, and it's usually a marker for fertile soil. Good. So in case you didn't know what a companion plant is, it's essentially like, if you think about a forest as you walk through it, you have things at different levels. So you have the vines that are coiling up the trees, you have the cover crop or the shallow root system plants like the chickweed, which are kind of the first layer, and then they kind of go up from there. You got the shrubs, and then the tree or bushes, and then trees, vines going up the trees. So they're all different companions to each other. They could grow in the same space. They're not necessarily competing for all the same resources. They all kind of are, but like at different levels. For the light, for the water and the soil, the nutrients in the soil, and so on and so forth. But you can have things companion in different ways. So we won't get into that necessarily today. Maybe we'll do a permaculture thing sometime in the future.
Maybe. But also, too, just with the companion, they work in synergy. Right? Synergy.
It's all about synergy, guys.
Yes, synergy. Anyways.
If there was a symbol.
Synergy.
This is synergy.
But yeah, they work well together, right? Like one of the companion crops might like something else that the other crop tends to bring up or whatever, right? Yeah.
How do you eat it?
How do you eat it? The young leaves, again, young side of the plant, are really rich in calcium, protein, surprisingly, and iron.
Well, they're lamb's quarters. You're
Yes.
eating lambs.
They're
quarters.
actually richer in those things than spinach. So they're really, really powerhouses of nutrition. We'd call them nutrient dense, as you have said earlier. Apparently, they're quite delicious when you saute or steam them. You can toss them in soups and
Seem
stews.
like they'd be good to just have as like a survival food.
I mean, I don't think you would be able to like fully live off of them, but yeah, in a pinch, you could definitely eat it.
But it sounds, because it's so nutrient dense and everything, it sounds like it's like it'd just be good to have it kind of growing there in the background.
I will definitely, when I see it growing in our area again, I will pick some because I think it would be good. The seeds are also edible and can be cooked like quinoa through
Harvesting.
time consuming to harvest. Through time consuming to
It just takes a little while to get all the seeds, enough to get the amount of the bag of quinoa that we have. Like, imagine picking that by hand.
Yeah.
Probably not very easy. What are the herbalism uses?
Mildly detoxifying for the liver, and it's also very nourishing. So again, we typically find it in like maybe a spring renewal tonic. In folk remedies, we've used it as a liver tonic and a digestive aid. So again, strengthening the liver to do its job and then helping digestion move along. It's a mucilaginous texture when cooked. Which means, if I remember correctly, mucilaginous means that it's kind of like
Mucusy.
Yeah, it was like mucusy.
Milkenheim.
So it's kind of mucusy when it's cooked, which helps soothe the digestion tract. Again, when you're going through digestive, having more of not having more mucus in the system is helpful, but like having things be lubricated, and that's what we use a lot of the mucus membranes for. A lot of that is being coated in a mucus of some sort. Sounds wonderfully lovely.
Let's go through the overlooked herbs here. Herbs. Number one, well, the first on our list was
Dandelion.
And then we got plantain.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yarrow.
And chickweed.
Chickweed.
And finally
Lamb's quarters.
So, if you see these growing around, and you think they've been, not tainted by anything, use your common sense. Give them a shot. And that concludes our podcast. We do this every 2 weeks historically.
Hold on. You like.
We do this every 2 weeks. How can people find you and what we're doing on social medias?
You can find me on the social medias by the Wildheart Motherhood.
And I'm Wildheart Legacy on
we are Wildheart Legacy, but
apologies.
I am Motherhood.
Yes, sorry. Apologies. I just realized I didn't close the door to a 3D printing room.
I don't think they heard it.
If you heard anything, that was my mistake.
You are now calling it out.
Yeah. So listen for it. If you hear it, it just finished like within the last minute.
It's fine.
But yeah.
I think before we close out, one thing that I'd like to reflect upon is that a lot of these herbs are commonly referred to as weeds. They're things that we typically in our society we don't want to have around. We don't want to have if we see the lamb's quarters in our gardens, we're typically pulling those out. Same thing with chickweed and plantain. I mean, I don't necessarily see yarrow growing just wildly in the city, but some of the other ones are very, like the ones that are our pioneer species we see a lot, and a lot of people don't know what they're useful for, and they're pulling them out of their gardens when you could really, be kind of cultivating them or, using more of a permaculture system in your gardens and using these beneficial plants as well.
And like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what makes them weeds other than it's not what you planted in your garden.
They're undesirable plants because
some of them, they look like, for the chickweed, the yarrow, they look great. Like they're good. They're good looking flowers. It's just one of those, like, it's a bad rap. It's got a bad rap. So I mean,
I have theories.
Well, we don't have all of these, but we do have some of them in our garden.
I was going to say, we do have all of them.
Do we have lambs? Like, I don't know if they're all, anyway, I guess they're pioneer species, so they're perennial, but,
yeah. I don't know if they're perennial from the same plant.
Do we have chickweed?
But I've seen chickweed.
Okay. Well, is it something that we'd maybe want to do, like, some cooking with weeds?
Not to be confused with cooking with weed.
That's a different kind of podcast. That's not, yeah. Anyway.
We'd have to put quotations around the weeds. I would suspect that would probably get flagged on YouTube, but,
Yeah. Not this podcast, no. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that would be a fun episode. To display them, actually.
You know what? If we would have thought about it earlier, having the actual plant to show you what it looks like would have been good.
And show our real life. We could do real live reactions of taste tests. This is what it tastes like and looked like. And this is how it feels on my cut that I have.
Yeah, we'll just cut you open.
No, I have enough from work. It's fine.
Yeah. You should just carry some yarrow in your back pocket.
Yeah, it's in my first aid kit. But stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in if you were tuned in. And tuned it in. And stay tuned. Feel free to hit us up if you have any questions. We're happy to take a look and answer them to the best of our ability, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
In our dreams, just my family and me. From sunrise to sundown, we're making our way, building our legacy. Day by day. Welcome to the Wildheart Podcast, where passion meets purpose, homeschooling, homestead, and living dreams that serve us. Together we're stronger through every stormy weather. The Wildheart legacy, bound forever. With hands in the soil and love in the air, we're teaching our young ones how to live and care in this simple life where the lessons are real. We're writing our story with every turn of the wheel. So join us on this journey